Well, good evening, everybody. This is Dave Jones with Storm Center Communications and GeoCollaborate. It is January 23rd, 2025, and it looks like it's about almost 5:30, 5:18 here on the East Coast of the United States, and we're now watching what was a major winter storm moving across the Atlantic Ocean and actually is going to threaten and clobber parts of Ireland and the United Kingdom. I'm going to show you that utilizing the European satellite, which is very similar to our GOES satellite here, operated by NOAA. But we have vision and coverage all around the world from geostationary satellites. Boy, it's really quite amazing. But this is the view here on the East Coast as folks in the Carolinas and South Carolina, Georgia, and even northern Florida are digging out and trying to clear their cars and clear the roads with whatever they can find. Not many plows in those areas, and even over towards Louisiana and New Orleans. As a matter of fact, in this visible satellite image, I'm going to show this full screen because I want you to watch the snow melt. In this satellite imagery, we can actually see the snow melt. First of all, this update is for the All Hazards Consortium for the Sensitive Information Sharing Environment, where we share information across platforms with private sector liaisons within state emergency operations centers and also private sector operators. They need to coordinate with states to move across state borders when declarations of emergency and waivers are issued. That coordination has to take place. Also with the food, fuel, medical supply, logistics, energy, and communication sectors. They all need to see what's going on, and the All Hazards Consortium helps them do that. So let's go ahead and take this full screen. I'll show you what this looks like. And here you can see nighttime coming from the Terminator line coming in. You hear me say that quite a bit, but it is very cool to see that coming around. You know, the Earth is round. It's a globe, so it orbits around the sun. And so we get day and night, and you can see that. That's why it's curved like that. But let me show you. This is snow on the ground from a previous snowstorm. It's been so cold in the two-thirds part of the country east of the Rockies. Even in the Rockies, it's been very cold. But it's been so cold, this snow has been sticking around, even over Maryland and Delaware. This is from a snowstorm two weeks ago. But let me zoom down here into Louisiana. Look at this. As this, I have the sea surface temperature data on as well. It's cold. No real fun swimming in the Gulf of Mexico right now. But indeed, this is snow on the ground and in Louisiana. Officially 8 inches at the airport. Brand new airport, by the way. I was there 2 weeks ago. It's beautiful and very convenient to get through. But elsewhere, look at this. The snow line was all the way over here, but it is actually melted. And so this is pretty amazing. So I'm putting this in motion, and watch closely. Watch, look, see how it kind of disappears there? We can see from satellite the snow melting as the sun starts to do its job. Even though temperatures are in the 30s, it's going to get below freezing once again in southern Louisiana. So all of these roads that are slushy now are going to refreeze. So tonight it's going to be a very difficult night driving. Although good news, I-10 from New Orleans all the way over to the Texas border is back open now. So that's good. But there are local bridges and overpasses that are really tricky, very tough to drive through. And so really please check with your state before you go out, if you have to go out in the southern states here, to make sure that those roads are open because they will refreeze tonight, and that's going to be very, very slippery. I'm going to change these borders to white just so you can see. Look at the snow over here in parts of southern Georgia and Florida, but look at it disappearing. We're watching the snow melt from 22,300 miles up in space. It is really quite spectacular. And of course, as I move out here a little bit, you'll see the temperatures. They're not as warm as they are in the summertime, that's for sure. Low clouds and some scattered showers off the Gulf of Mexico here, impacting Brownsville, Texas, some clouds there. And other than that, we don't have any major weather systems going on in the eastern two-thirds of the country besides the cold. The cold has been causing many water pipes to break and homes in the south in particular. Just got off a call with the emergency operations folks in Louisiana, and they are getting reports of many water lines bursting in homes. And now as it starts to warm up and the water pressure increases, we're going to see probably more pipes burst. So if you live down in the south, make sure you're protecting and wrapping those water pipes because if they do burst, you want to hop right on it right away. So pay close attention tonight and into tomorrow and into the afternoon. Make sure any water pipes that might go under your house, if you have elevated homes, check it out and make sure that they haven't burst, and get a plumber in there to help you right away. Look at the lake effect. This is lake effect clouds, and so lake effect snow happening in Michigan and also in Wisconsin. So this is going on because of the circulation around big low pressure system up towards eastern Canada. But look at the subtropical jet stream. It is just screaming over the Carolinas. It's been doing that for a while. But the big storm, let me back out here and show you this. The big storm we're going to talk about in a little bit is way over here already. Look at that circulation. See that right there? All the way over on the limb of the curved earth. That storm is about to impact Ireland with hurricane force winds. We're going to show you that a little bit closer in just a minute. I do want to talk about, though, California, because the elevated fire danger is there, and we have a brand new fire that started yesterday, the Hughes fire. Oh, it was spreading so rapidly, and evacuation orders were being issued. I want to show you what it looks like from the goes west standpoint right now. Here is Southern California. Look at this low pressure system that's been spinning out there, a big ocean storm, but it's not moving towards the west coast. So that's good news. We actually have high pressure that has caused those Santa Ana winds to come down into into Southern California, and that is producing the fire danger. And so I'm going to change these borders over here to black borders so we can see what's happening, and we'll zoom in a little bit closer. So the new fire, the Hughes fire, is located right up in here. Not a lot of smoke is being detected by the satellite at this point. I was just looking earlier at some hotspot data from satellite, and it was showing up there. But as the sun starts to get a little bit lower, you can see some other fires burning in Mexico. These are some serious fires burning there, and you can see those smoke plumes going on. But the Hughes fire, let's switch over. I'll go over to GeoCollaborate here for a moment and just show you what it looks like full screen. Here is the winter storm, and this is great news. The winter storm severity index, no oranges. no reds. And remember the legend here, this is what it looks like. If you see purple or red or orange, no driving is recommended. Hazardous conditions exist. Now, it is hazardous as the sun goes down in southern Louisiana, but that's not from weather that's occurring right now. It's weather that's occurred in the past. So I'll take the zoom in here just a little bit. And as we do zoom in, you'll see on the eastern edge of the lakes, because of lake effect snows, driving it's kind of a minor inconvenience there. You all know in Michigan how to drive in the snow. So that's not a big issue. But if we go to the west, out here in Wyoming, southeast Wyoming, into the Rocky Mountains here, near Boulder, there's some heavier snow that is going to cause some trouble, moderate impacts to transportation. So if All Hazards Consortium stakeholders, if you have to drive through this area, there may be some delays in the Rocky Mountains there. and then on up into Montana, into northwestern Montana here. There's some additional snow and blowing snow that could cause some problems. Still very, very cold in the upper Midwest of the United States. But now I want to just focus in on Southern California. So let me zoom in on that real quick. Here we are in Southern California. This is the fire weather danger product from the Storm Prediction Center for the next day. And look at that. It's still significant in this area. And that's where we have the Hughes fire burning. Matter of fact, we have, 50-50, good news and bad news for California. The good news is the winds are going to ease up a little bit. That's good news. The bad news is we're going to have some rain headed for Southern California. Now, you might think, why, Dave, why is that bad news? Well, it's bad news because we have a lot of burn scars in the area from the wildfires. And those burn scars, what happens when wildfires burn in anywhere, but here in Southern California, they were so intense. And you can see the burn scars here right now as we zoom in. I'll show those to you. Here they are. Here's the Palisades fire, and here's the Eaton fire up here. This fire here is the Hearst fire. That's not the Hughes fire, but the Hearst fire. Hearst fire burn scars have not been produced yet. This is the Kenneth fire, but the burn scars create what's called a hydrophobic soil. Hydro is water. Phobic is fear, right? You fear. You have fear of anything. It has phobia at the end. So hydrophobic soil means that it repels water. So if we get any sort of decent amount of rainfall, a tenth of an inch or more, that rainfall is not going to get absorbed in these burn scars. So communities that are adjacent to these wildfire burn scars are at deep, deep risk, high risk of mud flows, debris flows, and flash floods. So we've put in the crawl at the bottom of the screen that the governor of California has authorized flood protection to move forward very quickly. And that is because we have some rain headed our way. This is the GFS model, and I've zoomed in on Southern California and the Southwest just to show you when we might expect some rain. Because I know you want rain because you want it to moisten the soil, you want it to moisten the vegetation so it doesn't burn. But those areas that have burned are really at risk for potential mudslides and debris flows. So I'm going to advance this. We're going to see this low pressure system forming over the Sierra Range here. And you can see that with some snow popping up. This is Saturday morning at 7 o'clock. And you can see some light snow in Nevada and also the Sierra. But watch as this low pressure system moves to the south, what happens here. It moves a little bit further to the south. We start to see some rain showers popping up in Southern California. And as we advance this, more rain does pop up. And you see this? This is what I'm concerned about. This is the rain around 8 a.m. on Sunday. So about midnight Saturday night into noon on Sunday, we're going to have some rain, and that means we could have mud flows and debris flows. As a matter of fact, the risk is very high because all that rain is going to just wash right off of the mountains there that have burned, and it's not going to be pretty. Even though it's not a huge amount of rain that's forecast, it does look like it's going to have an impact. So this is by 2 o'clock in the afternoon on Sunday, and now look at this. We're into 7, 8 o'clock on Monday or Sunday night. So Saturday night around midnight through Sunday, we have rain that's going to be popping up, and then it kind of moves out and eases up by Monday afternoon. So we're talking about Saturday night at midnight till about Monday at noon. Rain is going to be in the forecast. It doesn't look like it's going to be a constant heavy rain, but it's going to be enough to cause mud flows and debris flows. We have, and you can see there at the bottom of the screen that's scrolling right now, the governor has issued an executive order Monday to expedite flood control measures. So they're working on that. Everybody should realize that they're working on that right now because this rain is in the forecast. Now, let me back out just a little bit, and I'll show you a little bit of satellite imagery too that's close to the East Coast. This is the state of Maryland, and you can see what's going on here. Lots of winds coming across the Appalachians, creating those cloud streets. These are sort of standing wave clouds. They're just, see sunshine and then clouds, sunshine and clouds. Out at the Wisp Ski Resort in Western Maryland. Let's take a look at that and see what it looks like. Lights have come on. It's now closed because it's getting dark. But plenty of snow. They do have tubing there, by the way. You can go over and go down that hill there on the left, on the far left. They have tubing, which is actually a lot of fun. I've done that before. This is where the Wisp Ski Resort is in Oakland, Maryland, Western Maryland, right here, and down towards eastern West Virginia, Snowshoe, and other places, other ski resorts. There's also Seven Springs and resorts like that are really enjoying this cold. Not going to last, though. We're going to be up in the 50s by next week, early next week, here in the Mid-Atlantic. So what else do I want to show you? I want to go all the way over to the Atlantic, across the Atlantic, and I'm going to show you that storm. Remember, I showed you from the standpoint of the GOES East satellite. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to go all the way over here. Here's Nova Scotia right here. And we're going to look all the way over. And this is the storm we're going to look at from the standpoint of the Meteosat 10 satellite. Okay, you ready for this? I've enhanced the clouds a little bit so it's a little bit easier to see. So here we go. Now we're looking at the Meteosat satellite. Here's Spain. Here's Portugal. Up here is Ireland. And we're going to zoom in here and look at this storm. It is pretty incredible, wrapped up like this. This is the infrared channel of the Meteosat satellite, and these clouds are already impacting Ireland with very, very strong winds. As a matter of fact, I was looking at some NASA satellite data today, and I want to show you this. This is from the Aqua satellite. This is the MODIS sensor on the Aqua satellite. Okay, so let me orient you. Here is Southern Ireland. So like Killarney is right down here. If any of you have visited Ireland, over on the little bit over here is Dingle in Ireland, and then Cork is right about here. And look at these clouds. This almost looks like a hurricane. With these thunderstorms, these are big, powerful storms. Here's the center of the low pressure system. It's going to pass right to the north. And so these are the strong winds that are going to be passing into Southern Ireland. As a matter of fact, winds up to 80 miles per hour are going to impact, it's going to lead to disruptions like to buildings, power lines, flying debris in coastal areas. As a matter of fact, the European Storm Forecast Experiment, it's an experiment that they have going over there from the Met Office and other places, has issued a tornado warning for parts of the UK because wind gusts could reach 125 miles per hour. Right in here, 125 miles per hour. We're going to see this all over the news, folks, because there's going to be quite a bit of damage and huge waves. There's also what they call an amber weather warning for wind and yellow Met Office weather warnings for wind covering almost all of the UK. Okay, so here's Ireland here. Here's Northern Ireland right over here. This is the UK right in here. And let me just move down just a little bit. So this is the UK right here. And so it's pretty, and at the very top up here, this is Scotland. And then, Edinburgh is right about in here. So anyway, there's a big storm, and this was the storm that was impacting the United States just a few days ago, a couple days ago, and it's already across the Atlantic, and it's going to wallop Ireland. So all the best to our friends over in Ireland that they can weather this storm. This is really going to be a high impact event. Let me show you what the winds look like. Here we go. I'm going to move this over here. Look, there's the storm right there. And here is Ireland right there. So you can see the strongest part of the winds. And these are very strong winds. Again, gusting to 125 miles per hour is the forecast. And let me take you into the little forecast here. You can see how that's going to progress. Look at that. Those white winds. Ooh, bam. That's really going to impact Southern Ireland here with some serious weather over this weekend. And at the same time, the snow will be melting in New Orleans. So let's talk about the forecast here and what the impacts are going to be for the rest of the country as we zoom out a little bit with the forecast. So this is actually the forecast for Europe. Because I did want to show you how that system is going to progress through. Look at all that rain and wind. That is going on over the next 24 hours. This is so Friday mornings. This is tomorrow morning. That's when they're going to see the biggest impacts over in England. And look at that. It really wraps up. What an intense storm that's going to have widespread impacts in Western Europe there. So let's switch over here closer to home, and I want to show you the cold air that we've been dealing with in the central part of the United States. I showed you this projection, which is sort of like a northern, kind of a northern hemisphere projection. You can see up here is Alaska. This is Alaska, and look at that. Abnormally warm weather. This was on by, let's see, tonight. So abnormally warm again in Alaska. All this warm air is like pushing that cold air down to the south. It's pushing this cold air. This warm anomaly should not be there. Why? Well, because the tropopause, which is the lowest part of the atmosphere, is warmer. It's warmer because we have too much CO2 in the atmosphere, and that's causing more and more blankets to be put over the earth, and that's capturing all the heat that wants to leave. So that's a problem in itself, but that is why we have so much cold air. Many people are going to say, oh, what about that global warming? Well, sure would like some global warming now. Well, because of that warmth, this warm air all the way up here near the poles is forcing that cold air to dive down. And that will go away after a little while. I'll put it into motion here so you can see that cold air move out. There's a secondary Arctic front that's going to come through, and watch where that goes. It does spread across the U.S., but it really dissipates here because we have warmer weather. This is over the weekend and next week. It's going to feel very nice in southern Louisiana, even Florida. Central Florida is going to get up to 80 degrees over the next several days into next week. Periodically. So that's going to be welcome. But look at all this warm air. This is anomalously warm air. It actually is going to warm up. We're going to get warmer air from Canada. From Canada, it's going to be coming. Look, you can watch that red moving down, and then look at that. It spreads across the most central part of the U.S., tries to get into the eastern part of the U.S., but this cold air is kind of damming down the eastern edge of the Appalachians. So it's going to hold on a little bit. That's what we call it, damming down the eastern edge of the mountains, because cold air is dense. It stays close to the surface, and it just kind of like oozes like molasses. And so it's tough to carve out sometimes. But watch as I put this into motion. It will get out of there, and so temperatures are going to get pretty warm, warmer than average. Probably upper 40s and 50, near 55 or so in parts of the mid-Atlantic over the next 5, 6, 7 days. This is Wednesday, so by Tuesday next week, things should be feeling pretty good. And in the Midwest, it's going to warm up very nice. No more snow by this time. It's all going to be but a memory, that historic snowfall event that gave parts of New Orleans up to 11 to 12 inches of snow Just incredible. Houston, 3 to 4 inches of snow. You will never forget that. I hope you took a lot of pictures as well. But then we put this further into motion by mid to late next week. There is a cold outbreak in New England, Pennsylvania, north into Maine and up towards Nova Scotia. That is going to be another cold outbreak. But watch this air. Look at this cold air off of California and watch what happens with that as we project this into the future here. This much warmer air over Hudson Bay and the Great Lakes. This is stretching down through Saturday, February 1st. Watch what happens here. So we take this into the future. The East Coast is warm, so that means the West Coast must be getting cold. And indeed they are. Now, this forecast period is way out there, but I've mentioned this in the past, that models tend to forecast large-scale movement of atmospheric air masses pretty accurately. Not specifically, can't tell you where it's going to rain or where it's going to snow, but tracking cold air and warm air is pretty good in the long range of the models as well. So you can see the cold air really diving down into California while the East Coast really sort of heats up in the first week in February. So our roller coaster winter continues. That jet stream is really doing some wacky things because of too much warmth in the troposphere that we've been seeing over the years. Actually, it just keeps warming up. So that's the forecast, and that's what it looks like over the next several days. I'm going to call it here. It's been too long anyway, but I appreciate your attention. I've been answering some of your questions in the chat as well. Thanks for asking them. Keep them coming if you're curious about questions about the oceans, atmosphere. We can bring Dr. Ellen Prager back and ask her some of your questions if you have any about the oceans, tsunamis, earthquakes, things like that. So this update has been for the All Hazards Consortium, Sensitive Information Sharing Environment. That's it for today. We'll be back tomorrow, Friday, which will be January 24th, with another update. Thanks so much for watching. Please watch out for yourself, and please look out for your neighbors. They do appreciate it.